Hello, my cookies, and welcome to Russell Cooks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, I have a chocolate olive oil cake. Now, you're saying to yourself, what is olive oil cake? I don't understand what that is. Olive oil cake is essentially you are using olive oil instead of butter. And what it does is it kind of adds some really nice fruitiness to the cake, that olive oil flavor that you might not be used to, but if you get a really good olive oil and then you bake it into the cake, all that kind of like fruity deliciousness stands in there. So yes, it does taste like olive oil, but it tastes like really good olive oil. It tastes fresh and people love it. So this is a chocolate version. I'm just going to incorporate a little bit of chocolate here. But now that we know what we're doing, let's gather our ingredients. You are going to need a little bit of baking soda, AP flour, really good olive oil. I got this from Costco. A little bit of milk, 3 eggs, bittersweet chocolate. I prefer Ghirardelli here. Any bittersweet chocolate will do. This is a 60%. A spring form pan, Dutch process, instant espresso, vanilla powder. I'm going to incorporate this actually in the sugar that I sprinkle on top. And then a little bit of vanilla. And you're like, Russell, what are you talking about? Vanilla makes things taste more chocolatey? Yes, 100% yes. That's why some of the best chocolate cakes have a good amount of vanilla in them. You get a chocolate milkshake. Guess what? Using vanilla ice cream and chocolate sorbet is one of the best ways to get it super chocolatey. So we're going to be doing that. I've preheated my oven, 350 degrees. I got it on the middle rack. So now that we've gathered our ingredients, let's get cooking. This is 4 ounces of chocolate. You're just going to chop it up. No Michelin stars today. Just get it smaller so it melts more evenly here. Let's get my fresh bottle of Kirkland. Kirkland, if you don't know, is Costco's brand. We're going to do a half cup. All right, I'm going to put 4 ounces of chocolate in here. I'm just going to microwave it till it's melted. Could take 1 minute, could take 3 minutes, depends on your microwave. I'm just going to set that aside. Let's get our dry ingredients. I like starting with dry ingredients, even though they're the last thing that goes in. It's 3/4 cup of AP flour. 1/4 cup Dutch processed cocoa powder. We're going to do 1/2 teaspoon. You want table salt. 3/4 teaspoon baking powder here. 1/4 teaspoon baking soda. Let's whisk all this together. So we got our salt, our flour, our cocoa powder, our baking soda, and our baking powder. We have the chocolate olive oil mixture here that's melted together. Now we're shifting over to our wet ingredients. 1 cup granulated sugar. It's about 7 ounces. 2 whole eggs, 1 yolk. These are large eggs. Let's whisk this up. We got our eggs, yolk. Let's get our olive oil chocolate mixture in here as well. It's cooled down so we're not cooking the eggs. Let's also get our milk in here. This is just a 1/2 cup. Now, this is where we get a little experimenty. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1/2 teaspoon of instant espresso. So what that is going to do, this is a very fine powder. If you get instant espresso and it's like little chunks, you might have to grind it up or whisk it enough so it completely dissolves in what little water is in this right now. All that water that we have in here is from the eggs pretty much. All right, that espresso, you're not going to taste it. It's not going to taste like coffee. It's just going to bring and elevate that chocolate flavor out. Let's get our flour, cocoa powder mixture in here. We're just going to whisk that together. You don't want to overmix. We're looking good. This is a nice batter. Reminds me of making brownies. This is a sprayed pan. Don't spray it too heavily. Just make sure you get everywhere on this. I've greased my 9-inch springform pan. I put a little bit of tinfoil around the bottom just in case a little bit of leaking. So now we're going to do this, but we're not going to put it in quite yet. We're going to sprinkle the top with a little bit of sugar, vanilla goodness. For my sugary topping, I am doing 2 tablespoons of sugar. And I know you can go less if you want, but I like that crinkly top. And I'm doing 1/2 teaspoon of my vanilla powder here. So now I'm just gonna sprinkle this over top. And I always like starting with the edges first, get them set. And then I color in the lines. Bellissimo. Let's get in the oven. 350, middle rack, 35 minutes. Here we go. Looks beautiful. We got a nice crispy, craggly topping. I'm going to let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes. And then, and I know there's going to be an audible just wince reaction when I say this. You need to let it cool to room temperature. That's going to take probably 2 hours. You don't want to cut into it beforehand. Kind of like a steak that needs resting. This needs resting. Oh, ASMR. Clean, no batter. Just a few moist crumbs. I shouldn't have cut into it. Look at that. As we got a tight crumb here. Very tight crumb. Could be a moist crumb too. Look at that. Let's do a bite. It's warm. That's nice. I'd say this is probably about 110 degrees. All right, let's do this. Imagine if I just did that Bill Murray from Groundhog Day and stuck this entire thing in my mouth. Mmm. 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 It's very nice. I know that's not descriptive at all. Just let me get there. So I first take the bite and get a little bit of creaminess. I can feel the olive oil in the cake as I'm chewing it. And as I'm chewing it, some of those flavors are starting to come out. So I'm getting a little bit of chocolate here. The vanilla is kind of promoting that. It's not overly chocolate. This isn't like chocolate cake with chocolate frosting. This is like chocolate cake without a chocolate frosting. There's a chocolate there, but it's not overbearing. And then in comes, very incrementally towards the end, that olive oil flavor. Again, it just kind of creeps up in there. It's not like a 1-2 punch. This is sort of like someone's grabbed your head and is shaking it. It's just getting faster and faster and faster, and that flavor's building. And then it finishes with that olive oil, and you get a little bit, there's not really too much pepperiness. It's going to depend on your olive oil, but I get a little bit of that fruity vegetalness right on the end. The texture's fantastic. I get the crunch, sweetness from that sugary topping, and then it doesn't turn back into a batter, but it's very moist. So it's right there on that cusp. So that is chocolate olive oil cake. If you like what you saw, don't forget to check me out on YouTube. I'm also on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.